Hey guys, welcome to episode number 13 of Intelligent Wrestling Talk. I am Dan Janoff.
And I'm the Spexy one, Sean Specs. Hello.
Hey, if you are new to the show, welcome. This is our weekly wrestling show where we talk about the week that was wrestling, give some news, and introducing a brand new segment this week where we pick out our favorite Facebook post within our group. And lastly, and most importantly, we have our Q&A. What we do is about 24 hours beforehand, one of us will post a thread in the group, and everybody will submit their questions. And also, if there's ever anything you want to skip to, say you want to hear about this TNA, you want to skip to the Q&A, just click in the time next to whatever you want to hear, and with the magic of YouTube, it just fast forwards you right to that point.
Even though that kind of ignores all our hard work previously, and if you do skip, then shame on you. Shame on you to the pits of Mae Young's undergarments.
Yeah, we definitely encourage you to listen to the full show, but if you just don't care about the WWE, I mean, it's the option is always there. But with that being said, I guess we'll start off with Battleground. Not too much happened, not really any title change, just a few things worth mentioning. First, the match between the Rhodes family and the Shield. One hell of a match, and it was a match where you would see the Rhodes family get their job back, and a pretty big celebration would ensue afterwards.
Yes, and it's always good when Goldust is, I don't know how to put it, on a roll, so to speak, because you can tell, like in previous, when he's returned and stuff, sometimes he still looks out of shape or, still like he's on something. But this return, he's looked great, he's moved great. I think it's almost like we're seeing the Gold Dust of old, so to speak.
Yeah, I agree with
He
that.
seems better than ever, which I think it's great. And it's funny that last week we were talking about, putting teams together, and I was talking about Country Roads and, Cody and Goldust, and now once again WWE are just copying ideas that people say.
Yeah, well, what's up with that?
Yes, thank you, Gregory Helms. Battleground, it's kind of, it was like the throwest away of throwaway pay-per-views ever.
Yeah.
I mean, you look at three moments that really kind of got the audience going, I guess, was like I said, the Rhodes beating the Shield in great match. Main event was good until the finish.
Yeah, that was a little strange.
Yeah. And
when in Antonio Cesaro, when he did the big swinging on the on Great Khali.
Yes, that was it. That was awesome. I'm wondering if he will go for the 100 at some point.
I would imagine he would have to do it at some point.
If he still can, but that's the thing. He only just managed it on Grizzly Redwood, because by 90 he was almost dropping him.
Yeah.
So yes, as the last episode was quite rightly called, Push Cesaro.
Yeah, we still firmly believe that.
Absolutely. Yeah, Battleground. Like I say, I mean, I bet people have forgotten most of it already. To be fair, Divas match pointless. It was no titles seemed important at all.
Yeah,
they were just kind of, here's a random title match. No one will care. Where's the audience gone?
Yeah, and then you spoke with the ending with because Big Show ended up coming out. We all thought it was just going to be this big screw job, but then he just got all punch happy and punched the referee, punched Randy Orton. I'm not sure, but he may have punched a cameraman.
Oh, he punched everyone, and no one's really said anything about Scott Armstrong being back either.
No,
I mean they've kind of said, the commentators are probably the early ones that have really pointed it out.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's one of those things that sort of happened. You think, okay, this could be interesting. It's always interesting when like a non-wrestler's involved in a storyline. Sometimes, not always.
Yeah.
But for referees especially ones that can actually, and don't forget Scott Armstrong's a former wrestler.
That is true.
Road Dogg's brother. So I think Road Dogg should have sort of been involved, but that might echo the Rhodes thing too much. A brother gets fired. I don't mean that in a black way, but
Yeah.
brother gets fired. Other brother is angry and is all like, "Oh, yo."
It's like, oh, I'm gonna fight for your career.
Yeah.
Not really much else to say about Battleground. It happened.
We just move on.
Yeah, just move right along.
Nothing more to see here. And then Raw occurred.
Yes.
Indeed.
It started off with first Stephanie McMahon calling out the Big Show to the ring. Ends up firing him, and while, of course, smacking him repeatedly.
Oh, those slaps were vicious.
Yeah, I was starting to cringe. And the funny thing was, you see the look on Big Show's face. He didn't really change much.
No. You could tell he was hurting inside.
It's like, yeah, I want to cry, but no, I can't do it. I can't cry anymore. I have to be strong now.
Yeah. I'm only allowed to cry says Shawn Michaels. Anyway, he's only allowed to cry at crazy moments, not when he actually would cry. I think he just sort of sulked off like, she hit me. Just goes and cries and rocks himself in a corner.
Yeah. And then next, what would happen? More important thing would happen. It was announced that Daniel Bryan would get a return match against Orton at Hell in a Cell. Surprise, surprise. But we had a little bit of a vote, and of course you can't see my little air quotes. We would learn that Booker T would be one of the people you can vote for, Bob Backlund and Shawn Michaels being for special guest referees, and of course the winner, to everyone's surprise, was Shawn Michaels. I'm kind of curious and a little bit excited to see how he's going to be involved in the storyline.
Well, that's the thing. It would have made no sense to have the other two. Although I would have loved to have seen Bob Backlund do it.
Yeah. I always try to get people to vote for
but those votes,
anyway.
I know, those votes are they're just pointless, especially when at one point they were charging money for it.
Yeah.
And it makes no sense to do that because they are conning people. Like that thing I found online, it's saying that they've basically wrote Shawn Michaels into that entire storyline ages ago.
Yeah.
I mean, you can say that, yeah, but they picked two unpopular ones and then had Shawn Michaels because they knew people had voted for Shawn Michaels. That might be true, but I doubt it because chances are people are more likely going to vote for something unexpected just to screw with WWE.
Mm-hmm.
There are people, if they would have left it up to the audience, to the do what Vince McMahon tells me to audience, they would have voted for Backlund.
Yeah.
I would have voted for him. But I say you can't trust votes. It's pointless, especially if they are charging money for it. Just don't do it, people. Don't even contribute. If no one voted, I bet they'd still have this, these like thousands of people have voted.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure they already had it. The percentages all played out anyway.
Oh yeah, it's just suspicious that they had that HBK as the referee graphic like up seconds after.
Yeah.
Yeah, we all knew HBK was going to win. I mean, when they said like vote for the Hall of Famer, I mean, I wasn't expecting Backlund.
No.
I was kind of expecting, if he wasn't out of the scenario, I'd say Dusty Rhodes, Sergeant Slaughter.
Yeah.
And then, I mean, Shawn Michaels is always going to be an option. So.
Yeah.
Don't vote, people. Just don't vote.
Yeah, don't waste your time.
No.
All right. Before we get in the main event, I want to mention again, because this happened again on Raw, where Antonio Cesaro did the giant swing. Just in case you didn't see Battleground, which I wouldn't blame you for not watching it, but he ended up doing it again on Raw on the Great Khali.
Do you know the thing about I guess Raw and sort of SmackDown as well is everything's rematches at the moment.
Yeah, it certainly seems that way.
I think there was 2 Battleground rematches on Raw.
Mm-hmm.
And that just shows how lackluster that pay-per-view was if they're giving away like the same match for free.
Yeah.
Oh, that whole pay-per-view should have been for free anyway. I'm guessing it was on most TV networks, but
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, it's kind of, you sort of wonder what Cesaro's going to do next, really.
Yeah, because there's not really anybody who's bigger who we could do that on. I mean, maybe Big Show, but of course, he's currently involved in this storyline.
I'd just see him do it on Tensai.
Yeah, but he did already do it on Brodus Clay, and they're kind of the same size, I think.
He seems to manage Kali quite easily.
Yeah, he didn't really seem to have too much trouble.
No, and that was one person that they were kind of doubtful. Like, oh no, he's too tall. He's too tall. He won't be able to do it. He won't be able to lift his head.
Yeah.
To give Kali credit, and that's not something people will do often.
No.
But he sold that well.
Yeah, he did. I also like the fact that he seems to be using this more as a secondary finisher, because you saw that he did that, and then he pinned him not too long after that.
Yeah, you could, I mean, they said that Kali was too dizzy to kick out, and
yeah,
and whatnot. But see, I
certainly makes
remember
sense.
using that move in all the early WWE games.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm surprised. This is probably something I'll have to do actually at some point. Is make like, although after Michelle hears this, she'll probably beat me to it. But do like a little montage of Cesaro doing the big swing or giant swing or whatever they've called it on the games, like just to like most of the characters on there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because he's definitely in there. So
yeah,
swinging everyone.
Sure, that would be fun to watch.
Oh
do
yeah,
like a little montage of it.
Yeah, maybe some Benny Hill music in the background, even though
That
it's
would be
technically
perfect.
chess, but it's still, spin. It's all good.
Yeah. All right, and let's get into the, I guess you could say, the moment of the night. The match was Daniel Bryan, Cody Rhodes, and Goldust versus the Shield. First, I just want to point out just how much talent there is with those 6 guys.
It's
just a
an
ridiculous
insane amount of talent.
Yeah,
and also, I don't know, because I can't remember his first paint at the horrible pay-per-view that I've already forgotten what it's called, Battleground.
yeah, that's it.
Is Goldust painting his face like a beard?
It almost kind of looked like Star Wars-ish, like
it was kind of like a Darth
Maul.
Maul look.
Yeah,
but I don't know. There's also slight beardiness about it, and I thought it'd be appropriate, obviously, if he's teaming with Daniel Bryan.
Yeah,
it still hurts me to call him that. I want to call him Bryan Danielson.
You can if you want. I won't stop you.
So one time I called him Daniel Bryanson. Yeah, Daniel Bryanson, accidentally.
So sometimes I'll just call him Daniel Bryan Danielson.
Yeah, that works. DBD.
Yeah. There you go, right there. But yeah, the match was fun to watch. See a steel chair introduced. We would see
making its grand debut. Steel chair,
and
accompanied by Dean Ambrose.
Yes. And Triple H would end up turning it into a no DQ match because of that. And surprise, surprise, here comes Randy Orton. Oh, out of nowhere with the RKO. And
then one feels like he came from the crowd.
And he would throw him in the ring. The Shield would get the win. But that's not where it ended. We would see the Big Show, who would come out to the ring, fight off all the members of the Shield, and he gave one hell of a knockout blow to Triple H. And
yeah, Triple H sold that punch amazingly.
Yeah, it looked great. And I just wanted to point out, because for the longest time, people were complaining about how much Big Show was crying week after week, and everyone would just get absolutely tired of it. Kind of similar to how they were getting really tired of Daniel Bryan, Danielson, getting beat up week after week. But we would finally see the payoff in that, and when it happened, it got a pretty big reaction.
I think that's the biggest reaction Big Show's ever got.
Yeah.
In his career, yeah. He's not one for getting massive pops.
Yeah.
Although sometimes when he like returns, and this hasn't happened for a while, but I remember one time he'd returned some point, but I think this is when he still had like his ponytail, and he got a massive pop there. But a
Yeah.
lot of time it's more like a sympathetic pop.
Yeah.
So, oh, by the way, here's my fun
Hmm.
fact for Raw.
What's that?
Okay, um, you know the whole storyline about Big Show being broke and Triple H buying his mortgage / house and
Mm-hmm.
stuff. It's actually stems or influenced from a real life event when Joey Mercury was working there and he was experiencing those issues, and CM Punk bought his house and stuff for him.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, those two are close friends. And it was
Oh, that's
actually
cool.
CM Punk that managed to get him involved with the Straight Edge Society,
Yeah.
because at the same time he was actually trying to help Joey stay sober and whatnot. So it's kind of, that's where sort of reality and storyline do merge into one quite epic adventure.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, there's my fun fact for Raw.
It's a good one.
You're welcome.
All right, and that was the last part of Raw. Now time. Let's move into NXT. And the first thing I wanted to talk about was the match between Leo Kruger and Antonio Cesaro.
Oh, what a
Uh,
match!
yeah,
That was
and
main event caliber.
yeah, normally whenever I take notes, I will just sort of take notes and sort of glance over at the video. But this one I was really glued to,
Yeah.
and I have to ask because we always talk about people like Sami Zayn or Paige or whoever else getting the call up to the main roster. With how good this match looked, how far off do you think Leo Kruger is?
Months,
Months, yeah.
possibly. Um, I don't know. I have 3 notes on this match, which is technically all my notes for NXT because I was, enjoying the show immensely.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I noticed the push Cesaro chant.
Mm-hmm.
Cesaro is actually doing new moves, which,
Yeah.
well, new to WWE. I've seen him do quite a few of them, like in Ring of Honor, but he
Yeah.
hadn't really done a lot of them in WWE. And then my last note, it actually is Kruger to main roster because I think I don't know, I don't think they should put him there now. That's not to say he's not ready, because most of their roster is ready. It's
Mm-hmm.
just the timing. It all comes down to timing, because they can't have too many people with similar gimmicks at once. So I don't know whether they're gonna. If they do bring Kruger up soon,
Yeah.
the only real scenario he'd fit into is being part of the Wyatts.
Yeah.
Um, Other than that, I think he'll just get lost in the mix, much like Crowbar ended up being in WCW.
Mm-hmm.
He
Yeah.
had, once he broke from like Vampiro and stuff, it's kind of just there. But
Yeah.
so I don't know. I think with Kruger, they need to pick the right moment. Same with a lot of people. I
Yeah.
think Chris Hero's time should be next.
Yeah. I think that would be perfect just to see.
They're gonna replace Joe Henning.
Yeah, I'm sort of getting that feeling.
Yeah, the thing is, he's lost more than CM Punk did, and yet Heyman's staying more with him than he did with Punk. And you remember what I said last time, where he's going to lose his title, and then Heyman's like, "I'm sorry, I have to do this," and all that, and then Hero comes
Yeah.
out, beats him up and stuff, and he's like, "Sorry," and all that. And I meant Heyman saying sorry, not Hero saying sorry. Um,
Yeah.
that scenario still could happen, or Brock Lesnar happens to Henning,
Yeah, I can see that.
and then later on he gets replaced with Hero. I don't know. There's plenty of different scenarios. Plenty of different. Does that even make sense?
Yeah, 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 it does.
Yeah.
I think it does.
Yeah. Okay. There's plenty of scenarios that could happen with that. Um, it's weird. The matches that Axel. Yeah, I guess I have to call him Axel because people are probably thinking, who's Joe Henning?
Yeah.
All the clever people. Anyway, um, yeah, because the only matches he wins is title matches.
Like any sort of non-title match, he seems to
Yeah.
get beaten down.
I mean, I don't know. Are they serious? Are they really going to put the title on R-Truth? I mean, he deserves it. I mean, it's a bit. They've missed their chance to give him a major title.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I could see him having a good run as IC champion. It might not be like a huge run, but he was a good US champion.
Yeah, I mean,
So
I could see him as considering he won't be long, a decent transitional champion, maybe.
yeah, I mean, we all thought Curtis Axel will be a transitional champion, but he's held the title for quite a while.
Yeah.
I do like his finishing move though.
Yeah, me too.
It seemed pretty deadly. I mean, I can imagine a bunch of guys from NXT, having good reign as IC champion. There was a rare dark match, but I said rare. It was fun where this was before the Shield came up, where Seth Rollins was challenging Cody Rhodes for the IC championship, and that was one hell of a match. And that's probably the match that got Seth Rollins called up. We need more matches. I mean, if they need to use Cesaro to have good matches like that, then do it. It's not hurting Cesaro. It doesn't matter that Kruger lost because it wasn't a squash match.
No, it wasn't.
It was a good match. So yeah, that. What more can I say?
Yeah. And next, mentioned briefly, we would see a debut from hope I'm saying this right. Mojo Rawley, I think that's
Raleigh,
how
yeah.
you. Yeah, versus Danny Burch. I wanted to get your thoughts on what did you think of his debut.
I think it was good, and I'm glad that they're actually giving Danny Burch a shot. I've actually seen him on a load of like UK indie shows.
Mm-hmm.
It's weird. He reminds me a lot of C.W. Anderson.
Yeah.
Not just by look, but by like moveset and stuff. And he's a good talent. And he actually got quite a lot of offense in.
Yeah.
As for Mojo, I think hopefully he keeps the momentum going. He's obviously good at getting the crowd excited and whatnot. But he might turn into another Mason Ryan.
Maybe.
Big guy comes in, lots of energy. And then, after let's say a month, starts losing.
Yeah.
Hype dies down. Ironically, hype dies down.
Yeah. I said that seems to be his thing.
Yeah, it's too early to tell because he's only really had one match, but it was good. It's almost like their version of Big O, really.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it was just your debut match. There was nothing hugely groundbreaking about him.
No.
Did all right. So yeah, I mean, I'm looking forward to seeing what he does in the future.
Yeah, me too. All right. Next, there wasn't really a match, but we would find out since Sami Zayn won the little thing that Bo Dallas was putting on, he will get a title match against Bo Dallas next week on NXT, which I'm assuming is going to be the main event.
Yeah, and the way that Bo Dallas is speaking at the moment, it reminds me so much of something, and it's been bugging me since I saw it. I can't think of what he's impersonating.
Yeah,
But it's something
no
that's really old school. So if people know, please leave comments, because it is driving me crazy.
And lastly, we would have our main event, which was a Rob Van Dam taking on Aiden English. And it was a fairly decent match, which, of course, you would see RVD getting the win. And I wanted to get your thoughts on how you think English looked against RVD.
He looked pretty good.
Yeah, I thought so as well.
Yeah, they're building up really well. It was one of those matches, because I think this will probably be the last time you see RVD on WWE TV for a while.
Yeah,
because obviously I think there's like a 3-week or 4-week delay when they tape all that anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So I wasn't I mean, looking at that match, thinking this is a guaranteed RVD win, because it might not have been.
Yeah.
You know, they could have. I mean, they could have put Aiden English over. But yeah, I think it was a strong main event anyway. It could have gone on a bit longer, but
Yeah, that's what I was disappointed about.
But it was a good match.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, in a way, it was kind of your standard RVD match. There was nothing too amazing, really.
Yeah.
But I don't know, what I find about RVD is the bigger the arena, the bigger his like momentum and stuff is. Because NXT, obviously a small arena, it was almost like he shrunk himself down a bit.
Yeah. Certainly seemed that way.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. It's all good.
Yep. And now let's move into TNA Impact. And the show would start off with Dixie Carter telling everybody that she doesn't need anyone, and dropping a few, giving a few name drops of particular WWE employees, which was kind of interesting.
Yeah, Vince, Stephanie Levesque. Then she just mentioned like Bischoff and people, but yeah, I was quite surprised to hear her name dropping Vince and Stephanie. She might have name dropped Triple H as well, but I mean the audience were just all over her, so I couldn't really hear it. And you were right, she should have paid more attention and reacted more to them, because she was obviously trying really hard. I mean, we know that she's not a promo person.
No.
And she's doing a good job, but I think she definitely needs to learn how to improvise against negative crowd reaction, because a lot of what she said just got completely lost.
Yeah, it was really hard to hear just because of how loud they were booing, and she just kept on trying to talk over them.
Yeah. He?
She, sorry.
Mm-hmm. Just because she has the word dicks in her name doesn't mean that she's a man.
Oh.
The first thing you learn in science class with a whole, what's the difference between a boy and a girl?
It was actually a funny thing. I saw a tweet from Colt Cabana. I'm trying to remember exactly what it said, but it was hilarious. It was a reference to Dixie Carter. Something about what she call her tits Dixie cups. I thought that was hilarious.
Classic Colt.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Oh yeah. But anyway, moving on. Match to the mention was Austin Aries beating Jeff Hardy, and I thought it was a pretty good match, and I didn't really expect Austin to get the win, but he did, and we would find out that Samoa Joe would be the 5th participant in the Ultimate X match.
Exactly. It was a good finish to that match, but it seemed very typical of I don't know, your typical Aries versus Hardy match. But this is the thing, when you have guys like that and they've already given it all on like a pay-per-view, it's really hard to sort of change things.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was surprised that he got the win, but it's weird. It's weird seeing Aries lose.
Yeah, that's true too.
Just like it's painful to see Daniel Bryan lose.
Yeah.
And I really hope that Aries ends up in WWE one day properly and has a match with Daniel Bryan.
Yeah.
And they let them go at it.
I mean, I'm sure that's something many of the fans would love to see as well. I mean, it's just so much time between them, and you can look up videos of them wrestling on the Indies before Bryan Danielson got to the WWE.
Yeah, it's like a real pleasure to watch. Because it's like, I mean, if you like WWE and only watch WWE, you just need to kind of unzip that safety net tent thing and look at the matches that happened with the guys you like that aren't Cena.
Yeah.
like Punk, like Bryan, like Ambrose, who, if you didn't know, was called John Moxley in
Mm-hmm.
the Indies. And he had loads of matches with Daniel Bryan. There's a famous one where he almost kicks Moxley's head off.
Yeah.
And I believe that Daniel Bryan was one of the first mainstream wrestlers to actually get a chant that had a swear word in it.
Yeah.
One that he said, you're going to get your effing head kicked in.
Mm-hmm.
Kicked in.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
But moving on here into where we would see Ego apparently having their own Hall of Fame and inducting Bobby Roode into it.
A horrible segment.
Yeah, which would pretty much just lead up into the return of one Kurt Angle.
Yeah, well, they've ruined Bound for Glory.
Yeah.
That was their main marketing thing for people to buy Bound for Glory for Kurt Angle's return. For those who kind of care about Angle still,
Yeah.
and he clearly was on something.
Yeah, he didn't look.
He didn't look well. He just
No.
looked and sounded totally off his face.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that was.
Yeah.
Not only did they ruin Bound for Glory's excitement, but yeah, they're gonna be pushing someone who clearly still needs rehab.
Mm-hmm.
Defend
Yeah.
that, TNA.
Yeah, and then it certainly seems like because I mean I'm not really sure how long these things take anyway, but it seems like they try to rush that along a little bit too quickly to where he looks the way he does in the ring now,
Yeah,
and all just for Bound for Glory, which obviously there are more important things in life than Bound for Glory.
exactly. I think Bobby Roode's gonna win that anyway.
Yeah,
Yeah, possibly.
yeah,
It'll be I don't know. It'll just be a Kurt Angle winning won't do anything for anyone.
no, but to be honest, with the TNA's booking, I wouldn't. It wouldn't be too far fetched to see him win,
Nah.
to Kurt Angle win anyway.
As long as it's a good match.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean this is the thing that kind of stems around all wrestling and wrestling fans. It's not who wins the match, it's the quality of the match. I mean, obviously it doesn't need a really bad finish, but I mean if the match this is what annoys me about certain pay-per-views. There's a match that is like fantastic match, but people bitch about the ending and don't actually say anything positive about how good the match was before that.
no,
And that's the important thing, you know?
yeah, I think that's the most important thing.
But this is the thing. If you buy, say I don't know, CM Punk and Austin Aries were headlining an indie event,
Hmm.
you don't pay to see the end of that match. You pay to see that match in all its beautiful glory.
Yeah, exactly.
So it makes no sense to bitch about an ending of a match when you should just be like praising the awesomeness that was before that. So
Agreed.
if Angle and Rude can have a good match together, let's hope that it isn't just an ego interference finish or some weird interference finish,
Yeah,
or that Kurt Angle does a Jeff Hardy and he's too off his face to actually wrestle.
that would be bad.
Kurt
That'd be
Angle,
very bad.
yeah, it's like Kurt Angle. Why were you so off your face at Bound for Glory? Someone hacked my Twitter.
Yeah, I can't blame. We can't blame Twitter for this one.
Yeah.
Yeah, and lastly, for TNA, we would see AJ Styles take on Garrett Bischoff and Mike Knox. And AJ seemed to hold his own until it turned into his qualification. Then we would see Boley come in, uh, order Bischoff and Knox to sit there and watch him beat him up. And with what happened with the Big Show and guys like in the WWE who and how they've been building up aces and eights, you would have to believe that their match they would have to get involved to where it would be against Bully Ray and see the final parts of aces and eights going away.
Well, yeah, I mean, the ultimate payoff to this feud is going to be AJ winning the belt, isn't it? It's kind
Yeah,
of that's been written almost at the start of the Bound for Glory series.
yeah,
It was. I couldn't see him not winning it. I was hoping that Jeff Hardy wouldn't.
No.
He's the wrong person for a company to put as a headliner.
Nah, and he certainly doesn't need it.
No. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I've always liked Aces and Eights. It's just weird that you look at the original lineup. Chris Masters was part of it.
Mm-hmm.
Xavier, one of the guys from the Indies, who you've probably heard of.
Yes.
He was part of it. But none of them got unmasked or named or anything, and they just kind of became just different people as it went along.
Yeah.
And a lot of them were just kind of local indie. I mean, the most recognizable one was probably Wes Briscoe.
Mm-hmm.
That lineup changed so much, but I guess once they started unmasking people, it was, I don't know, the numbers also just seemed to decrease.
Yeah.
Before, like, Devon went and all the people like that, the numbers just seemed to go down anyway.
Mm-hmm.
And nobody mentioned anything.
No.
So I'm guessing it is kind of, as much as I hate it when big stables finish, I guess it is time for that to sort of move on, and we'll see what's next for the chapter. But what if that's basically what's been bringing in views to TNA, and once you take away that, what are you left with? Dixie trying to be a heel?
Yeah.
People aren't going to tune in to see that.
No. I know I'm not.
No. It's such a weird expression, tuning in. It's like you have to re-scramble your satellite dish or something. It's such an old expression. I don't. I just put Challenge TV on or go on to bollyrules.com. Sponsor! Not really.
No.
And just watch it on there. Because chances are I end up missing it on TV anyway, because they seem to keep changing the time, which is annoying.
Yeah. I never watch it live. The only show I watch live is Raw, and that's it.
I don't even watch that live, and I can't. That's the thing. Until I get internet at my flat, I have to just watch. Luckily, the ad-free shows on bollyrules.com sponsor, but no, not sponsor.
No. We would certainly love it, but they don't sponsor us.
No. Neither do Walkers, crisps, or drenched drink, or okay, man. I'm just naming a bunch of UK stuff. It's probably just gone way over your head. I don't know. Do you have drenched there?
No, I've never seen that.
Lilt. A bunch of brand names. It's like WWE sponsor.
Yeah, that would be the ultimate sponsor.
Yeah. Anyway, before we just drift off into the sea of confusion, I need to be greeted by Damien Demento, who applauds you and goes, "Welcome to my island." He sounds like a drowning Dalek.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's get back into it. Let's get into some SmackDown. The show started with Vicky coming out saying Big Show got...
Before that, though, let's all remember that SmackDown is essentially a 2-hour Raw recap that features rematches and 15% new footage and 0 genuine audience sound.
Yeah, a lot of just sort of fast-forwarding through it.
Yeah. That's the thing, the first 15 minutes of SmackDown was Raw.
Yeah.
And then they welcomed us to the show, and then Raw. More Raw stuff. And then Vicky came out and was all like, talky.
Talky, Alberto Del Rio, you can kiss my butt.
Yeah, after I thought it was going to turn into either a Vicky Guerrero's Kiss My Bum Club, or a live sex show between Del Rio and Vicky to make little Guerreros.
Yeah,
Guerreros.
I don't think that's good for business.
I don't think that's good for anyone's eyes.
No. But we would see Damien Sandow would come out and almost cut a bit of a face like promo.
Yeah, I've made a note of that. I was thinking, like, is this a Sandow face turn? Is it the beginnings of a face turn? He could certainly pull it off, but I don't want it to hurt his character too much.
Well, it didn't really seem like it did on SmackDown. He seemed to pull it off pretty well
I think
by
he'd have to be a tweener for a while
yeah.
because all his best heel stuff is his promos. You take that away from him, he's just another wrestler
Yeah.
with a cool beard.
Yeah, and eventually we would see uh Vicky make a match between Damien Sandow and Alberto Del Rio, and
Sorry,
what?
I just nearly accidentally pulled my chair apart.
Oh,
Hang on.
and and once again they seem to be pushing Damien towards more of being a face because he got some cheers. Oh, well, sort of cheers from the old audience machine, where
No,
he would
he,
eventually lose to Alberto Del Rio.
yeah, there was some. It was weird because when the cheers and the "Let's Go Sandow" chant started, they
Yeah,
randomly put over a load of boos
yeah, I don't
that
know why
sounded
that
really
was.
bad. And it reminded me of that time where, when Zack Ryder was starting to get really over and really popular.
Yeah,
And he won a match on Superstars, and the crowd, it was like, yeah, boo! It was like a really badly put over boo, like loud boos, even though the crowd were just cheer. You could see them cheering and going, "Hey!" But the audio was just boo. They
yeah,
need to fire whoever's on SmackDown.
yeah,
Their
because
audio team, not just whoever's on SmackDown.
yeah, just because sometimes, I mean, they just need to just let that be what it is and not really touch anything, or else it's going to come out really awkward,
Yeah, but they do this on every show that isn't live now.
which is a shame.
I've noticed it. They've done it on Actually, I've not noticed it much on main event, but I think that's because they don't realise that main event exists still.
Yeah, a
Uh,
lot of people don't seem to know that it exists either.
the weird thing is, there's a lot of good matches that happen on that show.
Yeah,
It was funny that the highest rated main event show of the last few months was the one that Dean Ambrose was on. I think against Christian.
yeah,
That was the highest one, and that clearly wasn't because of Christian. I don't
no,
think he really gets any ratings anymore. I
no.
don't think he ever did. I've always said that he isn't a draw.
Yeah, I mean the what he got before was pretty much just with him teaming with Edge.
And he's injured again. He's legitimately injured again. Legitimately
Ugh.
injured again. It's just. Oh, and speaking of injuries, I've got a little sort of breaking news story on a certain injury. I'll get into that during the news though, because that's news. This is SmackDown.
Yep.
Hmm.
And the next thing they get into was we would see another match with Los Matadores taking on two people that seem kind of familiar in Masked, and well, and then they would end up not being able to beat Los Matadores. But it's pretty interesting who these guys were. We may have seen them before.
Yes, but did you know them without looking it up?
I knew one of them because it was obvious that one of them was Ricardo. I couldn't tell who the other one was, but it was actually pointed out to me by someone else who was watching at the time.
Mm. The way I mean, when I saw them, I thought it could have been one of two people, Aiden English or Jamie
Hmm.
Noble. Now, the reason I didn't notice it was who it was straight away was because I wasn't expecting it. But when he did that weird laugh thing, he did when he tied
Yeah.
himself in, and went that kind of instantly eliminated Aiden English because I've heard Jamie Noble do that.
Hmm.
And I heard someone else do that. And I'm thinking,
Hmm.
okay, he's not thick enough muscle wise to be Jamie Noble.
No.
So that instantly makes it Tyson Kidd,
Hmm.
which it was. A great match. He was saying El Local's partner was a Mass Tyson Kidd. I recognised him,
Yeah.
after his laugh. It's weird because if it wasn't for that laugh, ooh, the mystery. But the annoying thing is, I saw some posts online, not on dirt sheets, but funnily enough, on Yahoo Answers, and they're just getting El Local mixed up with El Generico.
Yeah.
And the annoying thing is, no one corrected them. and they were all saying, "Wow!" Oh, they were saying that Ricardo sometimes wrestled as El Generico, and no one was
No,
correcting him.
that's
And
terrible.
they're all going, "Wow, I didn't know that," and my head wanted to actually explode. I couldn't, because I'm not part of like Yahoo and stuff. I couldn't
Yeah,
correct them, and I really
yeah,
wanted to correct them. I've never wanted
yeah,
to correct someone so much. But it's that kind of ignorance and stupidity by WWE fans that'll never make them wrestling fans. You know, wrestling fans, WWE fans. No, not.
yeah,
Oh, how dare they get them? Ricardo
yeah,
mixed up with Sami Zayn.
yeah. Really.
Oh, the anger and the rage.
So
Specs
much rage.
smash, specs crash. Oh.
Oh, all
Also,
right.
someone was wearing a BWO shirt in the crowd, which I found rather amusing.
Yeah, I noticed that too.
Hmm. And I can't remember what match it was, but it was a nice Barry Horowitz reference.
Yep. And the last parts of SmackDown was the main event, so we would see the Wyatt family taking on Cody Rhodes and Goldust, and it was another great match to see with the Goldust and Cody Rhodes teaming up. It would look like the Wyatts would end up pulling off another win, but Cody would get the roll up pin for the win. And so in 1 week, they defeat not only the Shield, but the Wyatts as well.
Yeah, he beat Big Rig Brody Lee.
That's the end of my notes for SmackDown.
It's the end of my notes for SmackDown, I think. Oh, well, I have a note on John Cena.
Oh.
I'm just saying John Cena never getting any more title matches is what's best for business. Business doesn't
Hmm.
equal ratings all the time.
No.
So, yes. So that's a hint of my answer to Hector's question
Yeah.
in the
Something to look
Q&A.
something to look forward to. But before we get into that, let's get into a little wrestling news.
Yes. Like always, there's nothing major that's usually happened that already hasn't been discussed.
Nope.
But first story, Hulk Hogan apparently has met with Triple H at some point, and Triple H told him that the door to come home was always open.
Mhm.
And Hogan has claimed that he's interested in being at Mania 30.
That'll be interesting.
But then again, these are Hulk Hogan's words, so
Yeah.
take them as gullibly as you want. I don't know. It could be. It could. He's not technically with TNA at the moment.
Yeah.
Also, here's a random bit of news. Michael Hayes has been suspended for getting drunk with Rosa Mendez.
Oh dear.
Shortly after she came out of rehab. That's where she's been for the past while. Former diva Sunny, we all know how reliable Sunny is. She spoke on it for a whole 75 minutes.
Wow.
And if you're interested on hearing her words, we will put a link down below if we remember. But there is a link to basically just her. I think she was on a radio show just talking about the whole suspension and her thoughts on Michael Hayes and whatnot. WWE 2K14 news. I always like to talk about that, seeing as it is such a huge game that's coming out.
Yep.
It looks like Mr. Perfect has been confirmed. He was spotted very briefly behind Ric Flair in a screenshot of the 30 years of WrestleMania. There's no official announcement yet from 2K, but the screenshot it shows, it's not a clear screenshot, but you see Mr. Perfect's arm behind him in that particular match. So that's going to be awesome because I always like Mr. Perfect being in the game. As long as they get his moveset right and not give him such a generic finisher.
Yeah.
Also on Twitter, Jinder Mahal apparently turned on Drew.
Yeah, I noticed that.
But nothing has come out of it on Raw or SmackDown, so I don't know what's happening there. That's not really news, that's just something I noticed. Tiger Mask has been added to WWE.com, I noticed.
Ooh.
I think it's the original one, because obviously there's been quite a few people being different versions of Tiger Mask
Yeah.
and whatnot. Here's the breaking news on the whole injury thing that I was going to talk about. Either today or yesterday, I think it's probably Saturday, Bray Wyatt's maybe injured after an incident at a house show. Apparently he was chasing Darren Young, and he landed funny when he went out the ring.
Yeah.
Have you read this at all? Have you seen anything on this?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
There's a
nothing.
lot of talk of what's going to happen of it if it's serious.
Yeah, I mean, nothing's really known at this point whether it is serious or not. Hopefully, it isn't. Um, but he seems to be rather injury prone,
Yeah.
which is a shame. But that's the thing. When he had his injury before, he was still able to do a fair bit. You know, sitting on his rocking chair, watching.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, it's lucky that he doesn't compete in many matches.
Yeah. I don't
Because
think he
then the
needs to.
focus can be on Brody and Eric. I will call him Brody. Oh, that's the problem. I grew up with those being them.
Yeah.
Not Eric Rowan, because he's fairly new, but I'll always know Brody Lee as Brody Lee.
Hmm.
I can't call him Luke Harper because I went to college with someone called Luke Harper.
Oh.
So it just feels weird.
Yeah.
Also, we were talking again. This isn't really news, but we were talking last week about underrated tag teams. I did forget two extra awesome teams in Los Maximos, aka the SAT, and the Naturals.
Oh, that's a good one.
SAT, a segment of the. No, I'm not going to speak. You say things.
Okay. Now it's time to move on to the Facebook post of the week. We take a look at the post within our Facebook group, and we pick which one is our favorites. And Sean, what is this week's Facebook post of the week?
There's been quite a few good posts. The one that I felt was most meaningful. It's such a simple post. It was literally a picture, but it was one that Hector put on, reminding us of the anniversary of the tragic passing of Eddie Guerrero.
Mm-hmm.
A death that, as I said last week, probably affected me hugely. I still can't watch tributes to him because it's just really sad.
Yeah.
But yeah, if he hadn't posted that, I would have completely forgotten that it was that time of year.
Yeah.
So thank you for reminding me of that. And I don't mean that in a sarcastic way. It's in a good way, but it's kind of in a sad way as well. But
Yeah.
I think Eddie Guerrero is still probably one of the most missed wrestlers in the world for fans and the other wrestlers as well.
Yeah, I agreed fully with that.
Yeah, so well done, Hector. Your Eddie Guerrero post is our first. There's no prizes. Don't start asking for prizes. The
No.
cheek of it, right? That's it. You don't even deserve this anymore. If he's going to ask for prizes, he's not going to ask for prizes. Don't worry, it's fine. But I hope this encourages people to try and be as intelligent, as interesting as you can with posts, and not just posting random crap from dirt sheets or other Facebook groups. That's getting annoying.
Yeah.
Don't promote other Facebook groups. If it's a picture from another Facebook group, just save it to your hard drive, upload it on our page, and then just delete it from your hard drive.
Yeah.
That way, the picture shows bigger. You don't click it and then see a bunch of stupid comments on other pages, and it keeps everything, more intelligent.
Yeah. Which is obviously the theme of our group.
Yes, we're not called Derpy Wrestling Talk.
No, definitely not. All right, and that does it for that. And now it's time to move into our last segment. Get in a bit of Q&A. And yeah, and our first question comes from Michelle, who she asked, which female wrestler would you most like to see in Playboy?
Velvet Sky. Oh, pretty much all of them. It's
Yeah.
really hard to pick one. I mean, most of the WWE ones have already done all that kind of thing anyway, so there's no real mystery.
No.
I can see at some point the Bellas doing like a twin one.
Yeah.
Um, I don't know. I think Lillian Garcia would have done. She's been offered a few times, but always turned it down.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
I
quite
think
a
Velvet
lot.
Sky's a good one.
I think Velvet Sky. I'm surprised she hasn't.
Yeah, me too.
Although Boogie Nova, I think, as well.
Yeah.
Oh, Christina Von Eerie.
Yeah.
I mean, they're close friends. Close friend, if you know what I mean.
Oh.
Those two. Maybe Paige.
Maybe.
So I'm going to stick with my answer to everybody.
And I will second that.
Yeah.
Next question comes from Corey, who asks, if Sting did face Undertaker, could he win?
I'm sure we've covered this about 15 times.
Yeah, because this seems to be like the most attractive pick.
It depends. If it was a one night only show, possibly, but I don't see him doing anything that could convincingly beat Undertaker if three pedigrees don't put Undertaker away, sledgehammers don't put Undertaker away. So anything Triple H has done, or Shawn Michaels has done, or Orton's done, or anyone that's tried to, Sting doesn't have any of that in his arsenal. So I don't think Sting would beat Undertaker. And at this stage of both careers, like we said, it's common knowledge. I don't think it'd be that good of a match.
No, like maybe 5 years ago or so, but definitely not now.
Yeah, but even 5 years ago is pushing it. I'd say 10 years ago.
Okay, we can do that.
We can do it. What we can do time travel, can we?
Yes, we'll get into that little police box and
TARDIS.
well, there you go.
Yay!
Let's get into the TARDIS and go on and get those two in a match.
Oh yes. Are you my mummy? Nope. Do I've heard that before? Oh, I don't know. Dean Ambrose isn't his mummy for those Doctor Who fans.
No.
Generation Specs. Yeah.
Link in the description below.
Yep.
All right. For getting away from any more shameless plugs, let's get into our next question from Edward, who asks, when Undertaker retires, who do you think will be the next Undertaker?
What, they're going to repackage someone as the Undertaker?
Well, I think what he means is another one.
I know what it means. I'm just milking the question.
Oh, okay.
It's like, Carly, do you want to be Undertaker? I'm not sure what he said, so let's get Colt Cabana in to be Undertaker.
Perfect.
I don't know. Maybe put Tyson Kidd as the new Undertaker. No, see, a few years ago, I'm going to say about 5 years ago, there was actually a post on one of the old wrestling forums I used to go on, and they said who could replace Undertaker. So it was like this exact question.
Right.
And the most said name was Brody Lee.
Interesting.
Now, possibly he could, but I think current gimmick-wise, the only person who could really get to that dark element is probably Bray Wyatt.
Yeah.
Unless they do something really remarkable with Kane.
Yeah, but it's still too far into his career, I think.
Yeah. I don't know. They'd have to repackage someone who's still quite young from maybe NXT.
Yeah.
Maybe even someone from the Ascension, or maybe the Ascension in general.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think, other than the people we mentioned, I don't think anyone else can really fit that void.
No.
But I think with him wrestling less and less, I don't think it'll be hugely noticeable. Only around Mania time.
Yeah.
I mean, I know he is technically Mr. WrestleMania now.
Yeah.
No, I mean, other than like Ascension or say people that we've said, I think once he's gone, that'll be it. Really, I don't think they'll put anyone into that kind of position
No.
because no one will have that legacy.
No.
So it'd be pointless even trying.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Mm.
And next question comes from Benjamin, who asks, "What do you think of Bo Dallas's gimmick? I'm not sure how good his mic skills are, but he has been killing it in his promos the last month and a half. Also, when they bring him up to the main event roster, could he shine at a mid card with his gimmick?"
First of all, I hate the term "killing it" as a positive thing. One of my many issues with how American language is.
Yeah.
um, it's really hard to tell whether he's good or bad on the mic because he's so over the top.
Yeah.
He had his chance on the main roster when he feuded with Barrett.
Mm-hmm.
Failed big time.
Mm-hmm.
Zero crowd reaction. No one cared.
Nope.
Also, I was saying that like some people might not like him just because he looks like Taylor Lautner.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's funny because his first real name's Taylor.
Yeah.
Just thought I'd point that out. Just comedy value.
Yeah.
I don't know. I like to see him cut a serious promo, and then we'll see how good he is. I think anything out of a developmental scenario, I don't think he's going to get over.
No.
The only time he was actually when he was teaming with his brother Bray Wyatt.
Yep.
Unless, like I said, unless something amazing happens.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if we judge it by now, I think he's going to stay in NXT for a while. He's probably going to have quite a few runs with the title belt. If Taylor Breeze turns face, I can see him taking the belt off him at one point.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I don't really have a huge opinion of Bo because he's not really done anything.
No.
You could say, well, he was an NXT guy that was in the Rumble. He got a win over Barrett on Raw, but he got no reaction to any of that. He
No.
got a slight reaction when he pinned Barrett, but that's it. Unless he can somehow get over properly, then he's not going to have a chance.
Yeah. I agree with that.
Yeah, I probably could have explained that in a bit less words, but it's just really hard.
Yeah. Yeah. I can understand that.
Yeah. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
moving on.
Moving on. Next question comes from Jordan. So, with one Mr. Wade Barrett getting repackaged and handed a new gimmick, do you guys think this will help Barrett move up the ladder to the main event card? And could this possibly lead Barrett to a world championship when we see him return?
Where's it ever said that he's getting a new gimmick? I haven't heard anything about that.
I think it's somewhere circulating online that he's getting repackaged.
Uh, but why? This was perfect for him. This was him.
Uh, I know, but they just kind of they gave him a little bit of a run, and then they just
They always do this with him, though.
yeah
Do you think what him having his beard shaved was that? This is exactly what I meant when I was talking about that they don't use the correct term when they're
yeah
talking about gimmicks and stuff. Having a beard is not a gimmick. That is having a beard.
yes
Shaving a beard is not a gimmick change. That is just shaving.
yeah
I shaved a couple of days ago. My gimmick has not changed.
nope
I am still Generation Spec. Well, not Generation Specs, but yeah. Anyway, I'm still me. I mean, yes, I'm wearing a different T-shirt, but I'm not. Yeah, a gimmick change, as I said. I don't know what they can really do with Barrett. Other than, I mean, the only thing they have not done that is kind of recognised as like a British thing is basically turning him into the new William Regal.
Yeah.
Like, how dare you besmirch me? I'm Wade Barrett.
I think that could work. I mean, as long as they actually stick with it and don't get bored after a couple of weeks of using it.
Oh, they'll get bored after a couple of weeks of using it. I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe they'll put him. I don't know. They'll do something like if they do bring Adrian Neville up and Oliver Gray, maybe they'll have him as that. Maybe like a big British stable. They could have really gone with in again one of I think it was WWE 12 that had like the United Kingdom stable. That had,
Yeah, I was just about to mention that. Yeah.
I mean, again, there's like Sheamus who's just vanished, but they could have him. They could have it led by Regal and
Could throw McIntyre in there.
yeah.
So I'm pretty sure he's actually a part of what you were talking about with the
Yeah,
game.
he was. Yeah, it was McIntyre, Sheamus. Even though Sheamus technically shouldn't have been in it because he's not technically from the United Kingdom.
No.
Finlay would have been if Finlay was in the game. He would have been, and that would have been fine. But Sheamus
Yeah.
is from a part of Ireland that isn't actually part of the United Kingdom.
Right.
There's a little geography for you there.
Yeah.
Learning with specs. But yeah.
That could be witnessing a birth to a new thing on your channel.
Well, I do have life lessons with Snoots the monkey, which is sort of the same thing.
Yeah.
I haven't got an episode of that uploaded yet, but it's on the way.
Stay on the lookout for that, people.
Yes. Barrett, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what else they can do with Barrett.
Yeah, I'd say just let him just be him and let him do what he does and maybe give him a little more of a push.
That's what he does.
Yeah.
Wait, Barrett.
Okay, our next question here comes from Michelle, and she asks if TNA didn't exist, what do you think? Who do you think would be in its place, or would there be nothing at all?
Possibly Ring of Honor might be bigger.
Yeah, I think that's the next closest one.
To be fair, I think that Bischoff would have probably invested in Ring of Honor.
Mm-hmm.
Given that, he would have basically turned that into TNA, although it would just be Ring of Honor.
Yep.
I reckon the talent would be different. There'd be so I can't see there being nothing, but like the biggest independent company. But I mean, people have been moaning about Ring of Honor, saying once they got their big TV deal, the shows started lacking, and they started doing backstage scenes and stuff. So I think all the focus would have been on Ring of Honor, whether it been good or bad, but I don't see there being nothing. It's a good question.
Yeah, very good question.
Plus, it could be also like, if TNA did disappear at some point, would the focus be on there? So there'll always be something. Whether they create something new, which is a lot harder to do, or they adapt something that already exists. So, yeah, all fingers to Ring of Honor, really. Not middle fingers, because I like Ring of Honor.
Yeah, me too.
There.
Yeah, and our next question, the one that I guess you were looking forward to answering, comes from Hector, who asked, do you agree that Cena is the right choice to bring legitimacy back to the World Heavyweight Championship?
Cena is never the right choice for anything.
No.
If the business has got that bad that they have to put him there, then you're screwed when you're missing out on giving guys who actually deserve it, give Daniel Bryan more time, give CM Punk more time, give them the titles and whatnot. Because what's the point of having a champion who he won't do anything for the world title, because that world title is beyond screwed. There's only one person who could possibly do anything for that title, possibly two people, and that's either CM Punk or Undertaker. Undertaker being the obvious choice. He's the only one that could possibly bring anything back to that title. No one else. Not even Dean Ambrose, unfortunately.
Yeah, and it's also something to where it's not even hasn't even become the biggest championship belt on its own show.
No. it sounds weird, but I think Del Rio being the champion has actually damaged it a lot, because I noticed that every time he's the champion, world title matches always start the show. Yeah, I don't think. I mean, it's obvious that Cena's going to get it, and oh, how annoying is that? But
A little bit.
just Del Rio brings nothing to the title. I know it's supposed to be
Yeah.
for the Mexican fans, but they're not in Mexico enough to even make that even a relevant excuse. Rey Mysterio makes a horrible champion.
Yeah.
Rio makes a horrible champion. Cena makes a sort of horrible champion. Orton doesn't bring anything to the title whatsoever.
No.
The only time that feuds seem to really have that passion is when CM Punk's the champion.
Mm-hmm.
The best title matches of when he's been either chasing or defending.
Yeah.
So, to answer the question, no. Keep the belt away from Cena.
Yeah.
Let him
And next.
chase it. Yeah, I guess he could chase it. Fine.
Yeah.
That'd that would probably help it more than if he actually had it,
Yeah, I could see that.
because he doesn't have to have it anymore.
No, he doesn't.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
No is my answer. No!
All right, let's move on to our next question here. From Silva, who asked, "Do you think a wrestler's retirement has become less of a thing when they keep making random appearances on shows?"
Yeah. Yeah, retirement, especially like a Ric Flair one or a Shawn Michaels one. It's supposed to
Mm-hmm.
be this big sentimental thing. And Edge as well. Having them
Yeah.
return every couple months just kind of, yeah, it's nice to see them, but it kind of defeats the whole purpose of that whole "we're never going to see you again because you've retired" thing. It's like, no, you'll see me next week.
Yeah, I think should just do all that out together because obviously it ruins that whole moment once you see them come back, especially when he came back when Ric Flair came to TNA. I that whole moment was just completely ruined for me.
Yeah. It devalues that moment.
Yeah.
I think once someone has retired, unless you're Terry Funk, he was probably on his 100th retirement by now. Although
Yeah.
apparently he's still wrestling with his brother, Dory.
Yeah.
Uh, so yeah, it definitely hurts like the moment, but I don't know. Fans will always enjoy seeing Shawn Michaels.
Yeah. Because they're going to have a guy like Ric Flair come back again, or just about anybody else. It just seems just like a waste
Oh
of a
yeah,
good moment.
yeah.
All
But it's
right.
such a powerful moment as well. Like I say,
Mm-hmm. And another one from Silva who asked, "Do you think Ethan Carter will be Dixie's son?"
yeah, I can totally see that. Why
Yeah.
else would he be called Carter?
Yeah. Certainly makes the most sense.
Yeah,
All right. Next question is from Kenneth who asks, "What direction would you like the WWE to go in?"
that's a really vague question.
Yeah, it is.
So I'm just gonna say a good one.
Agreed.
It's like, I don't know how else to really answer that. What would I reckon? Possibly less child friendly,
Mm-hmm.
more, I don't want to say realistic, but don't have a small guy beat Biggie Langston,
No.
because that just looks weird.
Yeah, just stuff that makes more sense to the audience.
Yeah. But then again, don't have big guys completely unbeatable.
That's true as well.
But that's how they kind of were in like especially old school British wrestling. In fact, I was reading a book earlier, and there's probably a new segment I'm thinking of. So let some people think about this, like where I'll read a bit of say someone's autobiography, just like a little thing,
Right.
a little, not a whole chapter. It's not gonna be like an hour of me just reading someone's book, But just like, I don't know. It's almost like what Tony did with Know Your Wrestler, except this is kind of like a chunk of their autobiography. Like a little story or something. I was reading a bit of Jericho's second book earlier as well. This was just me loitering in a bookshop, by the way. This wasn't me actually buying anything. But like there's a few little stories in there that I think people would probably be, if they don't have the books, they'd be interested in reading. Also, you're probably familiar with Big Daddy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, see, everyone, you don't even have to be English to know who him and Giant Haystacks are because they're so hugely known.
Yeah.
But Big Daddy was never allowed to lose a match.
No. I'd never heard of him losing one.
No, he was never allowed to. He was basically, and he wouldn't let himself lose a match either. So I thought that was like an interesting fact, and I'm gonna get his book at some point because there's a lot of interesting little bits in there that I think could be interesting for you, the viewers, to listen to and stuff. It's like story time with Specs.
Sounds perfect to me.
Yeah. Have we gone way off topic?
We might have.
What?
I don't even remember. The question with what they were, what direction would they go in?
Oh, a good one.
One that's best for business.
Yes. Well, no, because if it's
one that's best for wrestling, best for the wrestling fans.
The less of Cena and Orton, the better.
Mm-hmm.
Something unexpected.
Yeah.
Maybe a push of like a new cruiserweight division.
Yeah.
Something like that. Yeah, it's just something interesting rather than the same old thing.
Yeah. All right. Next question is from Tim, who asks, if you could pick two wrestlers, past or present, that could be a great tag team, but you have never actually tagged together, who would they be and why?
See, Benoit and Bryan Danielson.
Ooh, that would be awesome.
That would be epic. Who else? Let's see. I kind of think that Marty Jannetty and Mr. Kennedy would be quite good.
Yeah.
Possibly. Or one of the more smaller guys, Johnny Storm and X-Pac. Funny thing is, though, if they had Pac and X-Pac, they could call them 2-Pac.
Oh.
There's another one for last week's tag names.
Yeah.
That gives me an idea, actually.
Yeah.
See, I really would have liked to have seen some sort of team like with Derek Bateman and Stevie Richards, just because they're so similar.
Mm-hmm.
Or maybe even Blue Meanie and Colt Cabana.
Yeah, I could see that one too.
I mean, Benoit and Danielson.
Yeah, that kind of
that'd be epic.
Yeah. All right, next question from Tim. He asked.
Sorry, I just thought of a really weird name for them.
What's that?
Goat Killers.
Oh God. Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Getting back to the next question here. If you could repackage any two wrestlers of today and give them a new name and gimmick, who would it be, and what would your reasoning be?
First two that came to my head would be Tons of Funk.
Mm-hmm.
Have them be how they're meant to be, as monster heels.
Yeah.
Call them the Wrecking Crew.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, if it's specifically today, then yeah, those two.
Mm-hmm.
Not that I don't enjoy their like dancing and stuff, but I think out of everyone, probably those two, unless we did something better with Primo and Epico.
Yeah.
But no, I'm gonna go with, before I even start thinking of a million other possibilities. I'm gonna stick with Tensai and Brodus.
Yeah. I actually picked those two as well. So. All right, last question from Tim. If you could bring back any past title, what would it be and why? European Championship for the win.
Yeah, replace European Championship for the US title,
Mm-hmm.
or bring back the Cruiserweight title. Although I think the best one would be the Light Heavyweight Championship because that has a lot more prestige to it.
Yeah.
I think the women's title would be wasted. There's not enough high caliber women wrestlers.
No, definitely not.
Hardcore title. I always loved the hardcore title.
Yeah, just so unpredictable.
Any one of those, and I'd be happy. To be fair.
Yeah. And our last question is from Michelle. What one thing would you would you want most in the new WWE game that is likely a doable thing by 2K?
The one thing I've wanted for a while is, you know how they've got like you can sort of create your own Titantron for custom wrestlers and stuff.
Yeah.
Well, it's surprising that they've not actually made like a proper Tron Maker studio thing where they have like clips of wrestlers doing things and you
Yeah.
can kind of cut them up and add effects and stuff and put them into like a proper Tron video. You know, use a
Yeah.
couple, make a tag team video, have
Hmm.
like name templates. You can tell I've thought about this a lot. But
Yeah.
yeah, like how the writing pans in and out and whatnot and shake it
Hmm.
all about and that kind of, you know, that's one thing that isn't, all it does is rely on templates, so there's not a huge, you know, ask for it, and all they've got to do is like have clips of like random people, so you know, either walking to the ring or hitting finishers or
Yeah.
taunts and stuff, and I'm talking about actual footage.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the one thing we've got superstar heads, even though we've only got a few of them, but
Yeah. Maybe have more of those, maybe in
yeah,
DLC or something.
but when you think about that each head has got 5 attires,
Yeah.
that's like some sort of maths to work exactly
Hmm.
how much they have. And that's, you know, they're not forced attires, you can still use whatever. So if you think about each head having 5 attires, that's a lot of data
Yeah.
to hold, even for 12. So hopefully there's more DLC. But I think the Tron video thing should, you know, because if you put, unless you use like we have file replacing software, not hacking. It's
No.
definitely not hacking,
No.
as it doesn't affect the Xbox at all. But you've seen it where we've like replaced Tron videos and had custom
Hmm.
ones on instead and stuff like that. So I
Yeah.
mean, if you can't do that, then they should give you an option to like just like if a wrestler changes gimmick and you definitely want a new Tron for them,
Yeah.
like a new custom one for say Heath Slater or something like that, unless they have his old Tron in there.
Hmm.
You know, you can just pick like a few clips of him doing moves, one maybe of his entrance, add his name, text and stuff, and there you go, Tron done.
Yeah. I think that's the one thing they've been lacking, really.
You know, it might be more of a thing for next gen, definitely, but
Yeah.
there's no reason why they couldn't have at least had some form of it, because the ones that they have for like cars are just really generic
Hmm.
and really like just stock footage and stuff, and the
Yeah.
text transitions are horrible.
Yeah, they don't look good at all.
They just look like they've been put on like with Windows Movie Maker or something ridiculous like that. So
Yeah.
yes, that's what I want.
All right, and that does it for the Q&A. But before we go, get into our usual plugs. Uh, First off, as stated in the beginning of the show, we have a Facebook group called Intelligent Wrestling Talk. We have tons of topics every day, different chats for different shows that are on during the week. I try to get them all, but sometimes I do miss them. We also have this is where our top 10 start, and where one member collects all the votes submitted by all the members. And speaking of that, we are actually in the works right now of a brand new top 10.
Yes, we are. It's top 10 costumed characters, so to speak. Not necessarily Halloween, but I mean, and we don't just mean random like costumes, like like RVD wears like a singlet and stuff. We mean actual costumes, like Undertaker wore, like Mantar, like
Mm-hmm.
Doink,
Yeah.
Gobbledygooker. Even
Yep.
Shark Boy, people like that, like
Yeah.
actual gimmick costumes and stuff. So, what we ask is that you, the fans, listeners. Oh, I hate saying fans, but yeah, you basically give your top 5, and Jade, who is a member of our group, will put them all together
Yeah.
and send them to me, and I will turn them into a lovely top 10 video, which I'm sure will take I don't know, depending on how well my laptop wants to work,
Yeah.
will, take probably a couple of days. But it should be up by Halloween, the latest.
Mm-hmm.
It's not necessarily Halloween themed.
Yeah.
So yeah, if you got any, I mean, they don't even have to be like mainstream. They can be indie. We've got a few like indie names, like Shockwave the Robot.
Mm-hmm.
Is one. There's quite a lot. We've got a good choice already. I mean, we looking at the list, we already have like a clear winner.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's what I'm saying. People love Aldo Montoya. Safe.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, I
Yeah.
actually still have to submit my list too, which I've been putting off because there's a few different guys that I want to put on there, but there's others that I want to keep on there. It's a whole
Yeah. It was so
thing.
hard to do just 5.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And you did mention briefly of a new video of yours that you do have up.
I do on my channel. I do a lot of kind of Dean Ambrose versions of videos on my channel, which is youtube.com/generation specs. So if you want to hear me tell random stories or see random graphic-y videos or just some good old-fashioned gameplay with moaning and then sore losing when things go horribly wrong and all sorts of stuff. And we've got a lot of Dean Ambrose reacting to things.
Yeah.
Not the most positive of person, to be fair, but yeah, my new one is basically for Doctor Who fans. If you remember it was called the Doctor Dances, and it was one of the Christopher Eccleston episodes
Mm-hmm.
where there's the little boy keeps asking, "Are you my mummy?" And then it's kind of obvious that Dean Ambrose is not his mummy by his response.
Nope.
Exactly. Oh, you and your spoilers.
Ah,
Yeah, well, I've interested. It's just a short video, but it does the job. And if you want to see it, there's the link down below. There's also a link to my
mm-hmm.
channel. If
Mm-hmm.
you click it, it automatically will take you to the subscribe button
Yep.
because I know witchcraft like that. I'm
Mm-hmm.
also doing a giveaway on my channel. If you want to win an Elgato capture card, all you got to do is watch the video for that.
Mm-hmm.
Do the 3 steps mentioned, which is basically like subscribing to my channel, following me on Twitter, liking me on Facebook, and commenting on each one. There's a specific phrase that I say in the video that you have to copy. Well, just type that in. Some people seem to be having trouble doing that,
No.
but yeah. So there's plenty of adventures and craziness happening on my channel. It's youtube.com/generation specs. The link to all you need to know will be
Mm-hmm.
down below. To finish with a rhyme.
Yeah, and what better way to end the show? So that will do it.
With some
For,
poetry.
with some poetry, yes.
That
That
was a
will do it.
poem by Specs and Reich.
And that will do it for this week. And I want to remind you all that there's only one way to talk wrestling.
Intelligently, and there's only one way to moan about it on the internet.